Hey, I hope you're well. In today's video, I thought I'd do a quick test on the way to work to see what percentage of my journey I could do just using Autopilot. Now, just to let you know, I have the basic Autopilot. I don't have the enhanced Autopilot or the full self-drive. At some point, I might upgrade to the enhanced Autopilot, but you know what? I've been really impressed with how this does. So it's a bit of a dull video today. It's just a bit more of a test before I put out the full review of the Tesla. But let me know in the comment section what you think. And anyway, let's start the drive to work. Okay, so we've just pulled out onto the road and I'm going to start Autopilot right away on the first road. So, of course, when you use Autopilot, you do have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. Oh, it's just come off there. There was kind of like half a cone. So I'm just going to get past this ambulance here, because I'm kind of on the wrong side of the road here, and we'll turn it back on. Okay, so auto steer temporarily unavailable. Okay, and we're back on. My foot is off the accelerator, my hands are on the steering wheel, but I am not steering the car. So as I say, I've been pretty impressed with standard Autopilot so far. It has been really, really impressive. I did think it would mess up more than it has. It seems quite intelligent when it takes corners. And of course, I've got the 2021 model, so I'm quite far down in the update list. You know, there's a really sharp corner here. We're going 30 miles an hour. How is the car going to handle this? Okay, we're slowing right down. It's slowed right down to 20 miles an hour. Okay, and it's taken that corner quite nicely. It slowed down to just over 20 miles an hour, which was nice. The braking was a little bit sharp. Now, I've got some cars here on the left-hand side. What's it going to do here? Oh, it's just stopped there and asked me to take over. So it did stop, but it didn't overtake the car. So back onto Autopilot. I've just got in the car and it's a little bit cold, so you can see that we don't have regen braking at the moment. Got some more cars on the left-hand side here, very close together. I'm just gonna take that off. It felt a little bit close there. Now, of course, at the moment, Autopilot is something that you would really just use on a motorway journey. It's not really designed as yet in the UK for these kind of journeys. And we've got a little mini roundabout here. And then we're gonna engage again. So we're in Autopilot again. What I have noticed is these little crossings we have here in the UK, it does slow down for these, which is good because, you know, you'll get kids going to school. Right, we've got UPS. Right, okay. There's a car behind me, so I'm just going to overtake the UPS lorry. Steer unavailable. It's a very windy night last night, so there's actually a lot of debris over the roads. You probably won't be able to pick it on camera, but there are little kind of logs and things that have been blown over to the road, and I can see that the Autopilot is detecting some of that and telling me to take over, which is quite nice, you know. Okay, so we're in Autopilot again. One thing I would warn you is, I'm just going to steer around that. Autopilot doesn't steer around potholes. So there's quite a big pothole there, and yesterday when I had it onto work, I turned it on and the car just sort of ploughed into the pothole, which isn't great. One thing I do like about Autopilot though is, of course, it doesn't stop at traffic lights, but what it will do, if a car is in front of you, it will stop for that car and then accelerate when the car accelerates too. So that's quite a nice feature. We should see now the car will begin to pull forward like so, which is great. Still driving forward. It will keep one car's distance away. So I'm just going to take this off. And then we're gonna go right here. It's a very tough junction, this, by the way. I think I'd be very impressed if Teslas can eventually deal with this. Okay, right. Back into Autopilot. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, which I am. And what you'll notice as well, I've turned on all the visualization settings so you can see things like traffic lights and stop signs. Okay, so the car in front of me has stopped. I'm not using the brake or the accelerator. It should brake and slow down, which it is, The light is green, the car is moving in front, so the car is now accelerating and steering, which is really cool. Now, it is actually a 40 mile an hour limit here, so I'm not sure why it's saying 30 here. Yesterday it did say 40, so I'm just going to accelerate a bit because I'll be slowing everyone down. So normally every time I've done this journey, the car has detected the 40 sign. So let's just take it off. I'm just going to see if it detects this 40 mile an hour sign here. Can you see that? We're just going to go past this sign. It's seen on the screen and it's now changed to 40. So I will put it back into autopilot. And now the car is, of course, steering and accelerating itself. Some traffic lights here. Now, to be honest, I love driving the Tesla so much. It's such a fun car to drive that I usually wouldn't use autopilot for the journey into work. I quite like this time just to have a little drive of the car, to be honest. But it's nice that it's there if you need it. And what was handy last night, there was a little bit of traffic coming home. I'm just going to pull into this lane. And back into autopilot. What was nice last night was that there was a bit of traffic coming home on this side, and it meant it was just standstill for quite a lot, a big period of time, just slow moving traffic. And you can actually use autopilot in slow moving traffic. So you can turn it on, and then it just means you can sit back and just relax after a hard day at work, and your car will kind of pull itself forward, slow down, stop for the other drivers. And I think that's one of the most annoying things, especially if you've come from a manual car. It's constantly changing into that first gear, using your clutch, taking it out of gear, sitting in neutral, putting it into park, all of those things. With this, it's just on and it does it for you. I've been really impressed with that. Oh, now I've noticed my max speed has gone up here. So let's turn the max speed down to 42. I think I need to change that in the setting. I accidentally switched it so it would go over the speed limit. So I'm just going to take that down to 40. And there is a speed camera up here as well. So you do need to be careful when using this. Now, of course, autopilot, if you're new, the basic package won't change lanes. It will just stay within the lane. If you want to change lanes, you have to indicate, make your lane change, either put it back into autopilot or come back into the lane and then turn autopilot back on. But for some of the bigger journeys I do, going from Manchester to Norwich or Manchester to Chichester, this is going to be great because some of those roads are 100 miles long, 50 miles long, 100 miles long, and you're just sitting in a road like this doing sort of 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. And if you've had a hard day at work, turning on autopilot is just fantastic. It's one of the main features that I bought the car, and I'm sure many of you bought the car. Okay, so I know I need to get into this lane, so we're just going to shift into this lane. I'm going to turn on autopilot again. So we're back on autopilot. So as you can see, even this small journey, I've actually been in autopilot probably like 80% of the time. There was a few times early on in the journey where I had to take over and there were things in the road. But to be honest, I wouldn't use autopilot then anyway. I've just knocked it out myself. So here we go. So we're coming up to some lights now. My feet are not on the accelerator or the brakes. Is the car going to slow down? I can feel it slowing down. I'm just going to hover over the brakes just in case. But it does a really nice job. I remember watching a few autopilot videos a few years back, and the braking was very sharp. It wasn't very natural. This is very nice. It's much more natural. It gives you a nice bit of space between the car, and you can change the space on autopilot. And the acceleration is nice as well. Again, in early demos that I saw, if a car would move or it would start to go green, it would take ages for the car to move. Now it's almost instant. So look, as this car moves, we're pulling away as well. So that's really cool. So again, I didn't accelerate there or steer at all. car in front of me is pulling in, so the car should slow down and allow for that, which it is, which is good. Now there's one section up here I know I will have to take over because there's some quite hefty speed bumps in this section here as we go past the university here on the left hand side, and Autopilot doesn't seem to care too much for potholes or speed bumps, so I'm just going to take it out of Autopilot, slow down and go over this pretty slowly because they're quite steep speed bumps. It's a brand new car, I don't want to smash it up just yet. So we're going to go down here. So we're almost at work. I use an underground car parking space for my work. The next thing I'm trying to do is, as I've mentioned in my first video, if you've seen that, I don't have any home charging. You know, we're not sure if we may move in a year's time or so. So I've just bought the Tesla and I'm using public chargers. Now, one thing I'm trying to do as well, just for a bit of fun, is I'm trying to use all of the free chargers that we have around Manchester. There aren't loads, so there is a bit of fight for them in the morning. So I'm just going to drive past a couple, see if they're available. I've only done it 2 days so far. Neither days were they available. Actually, the second day there was one available, but it was just such a weird angle, the cable wasn't long enough to reach the car. Now, don't worry, I do have other chargers around near my house. I have a rapid charger, and we also have some BP pulses. The supermarket that we go to also has a rapid charger and a 22 kilowatt charger. So, you know, I mean, I picked up the car on Friday. It's now Thursday, and I've got 53% battery left. It's really not giving me the range anxiety that I thought it would. And if I can get the free charge here, you can actually park on the streets for 4 hours for free while your car charges. It only charges at maybe 3 to 7 kilowatts, so it probably will just take me to like 80 or 90% in those 4 hours, and I will have to sort of come out of my office at lunchtime and move the car. You know, it's not completely hassle-free, but the way I look at it is, for the sake of just walking around at lunchtime to pick up the car and move it, I'm getting the equivalent of, you know, £50 top up of petrol that I was paying in my last car. So, you know, and I don't have the ability to charge at home, so I kind of need to do things like this to top me up and keep me going along the way. Okay, so I'm taking this corner myself. Okay, I'm going to stay in this lane because we're going to be going right in a second. As you can see, even in our scraggly British roads that change shape all the time, they're super narrow, super wide, Autopilot works a treat. You know, I've really been impressed with it so far. And that's it, I'm pretty much here at work. I park at a car park around there. So I'm just going to take it off Autopilot, and we're going to try and find this free charger. So I'm going to do that. Keep watching if you want to see if I get a free charger or not. Probably not, I'm thinking. And remember, in the next set of videos, we're going to be talking about charging, how you can get free charging, how you find the best chargers, the fastest chargers, the best apps to use. So when you subscribe to the channel, just make sure you hit that notification bell and you'll be notified of those videos. It's going to be really handy if you've just bought a Tesla like myself. Okay. I think, guys, we might be lucky here. Yes. Electric parking. Electric vehicles only. We've got a free charge.
So this was pretty cool. I just parked up, grabbed my blue charging cable and plugged it into the machine. Now you get 4 hours free parking, and you do need an app to actually use this charger, and I'll cover that and all other public chargers in a future video. Okay, so I'm just at work at the moment and I thought I'd check in on the car. It's actually the first time I've used one of these public chargers here in Manchester, and as you can see here on the side, it's actually working pretty well. It's charging at 7 to 8 kilowatts, which is pretty cool, and it looks like I'm gonna get about kind of 85% charge, which is really good. Also, another cool thing about your Tesla is If you are leaving it in a city centre like I am, I realised that I didn't put on Sentry mode because I have that turned off to conserve battery, but you can turn that on within the Tesla app at any time, so I've turned that on, so if anything happens to the car, we'll be notified of that as well when we get back to the car. So I think that's pretty cool. We've got 4 hours free parking and 4 hours of free charging. So if you want to find out a bit more about how I get on without having a home charger, and if you want to be notified of the video I'm going to do about how to get free or really cheap public charging, just make sure you hit that notification bell when you go to subscribe. Anyway, I'm going to go back to work and then we're going to check back on the car and see what charge we got out of it. So after work, I walked back to the car and just checked it out. One thing I was worried about is that someone might unplug it, but it is actually locked into your car. There isn't really any way that someone can unplug or stop your charge, which is really good. And then we got into the car. We can see we have 90% charge. So it's actually a little bit faster than I thought it would be. I thought we would get around 80% and we got 90%, which is really cool. 4 hours free parking and 4 hours free charging, all the way up to 90%.